this pig.
Let's. Very well then. Well, there's no Norlai here to pick on, even though I don't think I pick on her all that much. But she obviously
Nah,
can't go
not
first.
really.
So why don't we come back to Mordecai? Mordecai, how you feeling? What's going on? What are you doing?
Um, well, it's been a rough day, to say the least. Had a near death experience because the water rushed by me very close, and it also took Tazray away. And that's kind of rough. I always enjoyed his uh, his ability to make light of a situation and just bring smiles to everyone's face, and I envied that. So, um, so just kind of spending the evening kind of recovering from that a little bit. It took a toll on me. Um, I probably should apologize to Bright for dragging her out on a hunting mission, and because I know that that's rough on her. Uh, yeah, I feel like I was kind of on autopilot the whole time. So there's that.
Do you feel do you feel a little stronger, a little more inspired in some way from this ordeal?
Well, near death experiences tend to do that to people. So, maybe it's a wake up call. Maybe it's a bit of a realization that, you know, maybe things aren't all that bad, but maybe they are. Just kind of feeling it out. And maybe be a little less concerned and just kind of see where the wind blows.
Very well. Well, even as a vampire, I feel that you are adapting to the circumstances and the world around you, and as you do continue to grow as whatever you are, whoever you are, you will you'll find answers, and you'll never stop pursuing the things that you want.
Mm.
Um, let's go over to let's just go down the line. Hey, Celine, what's up? Short and
Ah,
sweet
yes,
like a
what
honey
is...
dipped dwarf.
Yes. What is up indeed? Hmm. How do I put this? I've just been spending time with this blade handle that Bright was going to identify for me. That we actually kind of left on that cliffhanger because we didn't actually get to find out what it was. That's what we were going to start the session with. So I suppose at this point I will currently be very patiently waiting for Bright to tell me what it is that this sword handle does, and then go into a long rest, and then get on our way to Greenshield.
Very good. Celine, the expectant. We
Yes.
We'll pop over to Jade then. Jade, you had quite the day. What's going on in your world or worlds, depending?
My dear, I'm trying to end up keeping it together. It's really difficult. I find myself fixated on people's eyes, something about them blinking. I'm not sure. What I do know is that Tazare did exactly what I warned Mordecai he would. That he would end up eventually turning, that he would end up going feral. He ended up taking a nasty gash out of my back with his, well, that crude axe that he prided himself on. He was a monster and a corpse and a dead man long before he met back with the party. Now he's a drowned corpse, and I have no regrets for what I ended up doing to it. The Tesserae we know was gone long before we ended up settling up. The fact that he ended up choosing to do so, and, well, not understanding his place, well, that was what led to his downfall. Though I must admit I was not expecting as much direct aid. Perhaps that's a sign. Perhaps I should consider large bodies of water to be my ally from this point forward. Still water, still water. Sorry. I'm finding it more and more difficult as we end up approaching Greenshield to maintain focus. And I fear that there's only so much time we have left. Still, I only hope I'm forgiven once the journey is completed to Greenshield. I pray that I will no longer be as kind as I've been thus far.
Very well. Now, lastly but not leastly, unless we're talking in stature or body weight, we have Bright.
Yourself off mute, and then I'll start talking. Um, I had a, I mean, it was a pretty tough day for me too. Not as tough as it was for Mordecai. I mean, I feel bad about Tazray, not just because he died, but because I was hoping we would be able to save him. And while I won't miss his starting fights for no reason, or his tendency to go berserk at the least possible convenient time, or his complete inability to live up to his commitments, at least ever since he died, I will miss the fact that he was someone that we were responsible for and that we weren't able to take care of, just just like Tibba in his own way. So I'm hoping that we can. I don't know. I'm just hoping that we can find some answers in Greenshield. If not for Tezray, then maybe for Norlai at least, because I mean we're responsible for her too in kind of the same way. So um, anyway, uh, it's funny for me to hear that Mordecai thinks that he should apologize to me because thing to apologize to me for. It's something that I did for him because I thought he needed it, and it's it's just something that I had to do. So that's all. Okay, I'm done.
Well, a little bit of bear hunting between friends could possibly only deepen a friendship. And we'll see if that's the case. As I'll take us over to the on our way in, which this one apparently has a very tumbled wench-like interior. We'll just have to pretend it's a lot more quaint as a country bed and breakfast. I mean, rumor has it that the tumbled wench as an entity actually owns the On Our Way In chain, but they kind of keep it separate to make sure each brand has its own thing. That aside, you brought back some bear and some blood, Mordecai and Bright, and the lovely farm granny, was a little spooked at the door, but you know what? I think we said that she was going to cook up some chicken fried bear steaks for you, and I am a grandmother of my word, and so in the morning you will have a very hearty, if possibly a little gamey tasting chicken fried bear. With all of the fixings, some hash browns, and eggs, traditional eggs, not this new kind that apparently can be laid. Gravy, just all of the fixins that a person could hope to have on a very chilly spring morning. So unless there was any other like evening time stuff that we need to go back to, we can open up with breakfast.
No, Mordecai just spent the night like embroidering patterns into his cloak.
Okay.
That's all. It just looks a little bit more threaded.
Okay.
And I'll identify that sword handle for Celine. And also, I'm going to spend most of the night and also the morning practicing magic because I have a lot of magic to practice.
Okay. Then
I'm a little confused. Are they frying the bear meat in chicken gristle then?
If you wish to go back into the kitchen and watch the preparation and understand how the sausage is made, then you can do so.
I am curious as to chicken fried gristle or chicken fried bear.
All right, then Jade might get a little bit of a cooking lesson in sort of this old fashioned Mesomascan traditional cooking. Let me we'll pull you aside real quick as I do want to resolve the identify spell.
I know. I just wanted to. When you end up saying that, it's like the logic does not compute. I need to understand it.
Maybe Jade can kind of stumble back to the breakfast table after a bit of a fade out and just mumbling something about butter, butter everywhere. The butter's everywhere. It's in everything. They're all made of butter. Oh, that's funny. I don't care who you are. All right. Let's see. If it's a magic item, some other magic imbued objet, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement, how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any spells affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it. If you instead touch a creature throughout the casting, you learn what spells, if any, that are currently affecting it. So the object in question mechanically is going to work as you find it inside the DMG, though there is a caveat, perhaps not a big one, and I would like Bright to make an investigation at advantage in order to read more into her results from the identify spell. Okay, so in this case it's an 11 and not a 7. It's still kind of early morning. You probably have a little bit of like or whatever, you know, in the evening you have some sleep sand. You got some bear blood kind of in your eye. You know, it happens. That's fine though, because I mean the spell goes off, and you know things don't catch on fire. That's always nice.
Sometimes it's nice.
The object will work as per the DMG, and being a divination wizard here, Bright, there's not necessarily an extra bonus to something like this that is mechanical in the spell itself. But given the clues about the items, you know, these were found in a cave. These were, you know, there's these 3 crowns. Not everyone wears a crown, but you know, who knows who did way back when. There's just something tickling your mind that there is something more to this blade as you identify it, but it's just not coming to the forefront of your mind right now.
Okay. That, I'll say that.
Very well said.
Yeah. Don't know what it means just yet. That there's, I mean, we kind of suspected that there's more to this than we thought, that they probably have a story with them, and now I'm just even more sure of that than before, although I didn't identify exactly what the story is.
Well then, I mean, I suppose I could go. I could still attune to it, but that caveat might be a little worrying.
I don't think it's cursed or anything, although usually cursed items don't tell you they're cursed. But and anyway, I don't think that would be a big problem for you anyway. I don't think it's dangerous.
No, I mean if there were a curse,
Just 'cause you could hit someone with it.
identify kind of identifies those.
Oh, I mean the Wizards Guild likes to maintain that illusion, but it isn't really true.
That's worrisome.
Everything will be fine.
No, I really don't
Sure.
think it's cursed. Though. I think it's safe for you, not for whoever you attack with it. It's probably really dangerous for them. I think there's more to the story, and we should maybe, I mean, when we get to bigger towns and we find people who know the history, because don't forget, I'm not from here, so I don't know the history as well as I might. But maybe we can find some people. Who will be able to tell us more about the history of these items? Because I don't think DJ knew what he had either. I don't know. He might have picked them up. Like maybe he fenced them for some other like group of Tomb Raiders or something. I don't really know. I don't think he got these like on his own. He had fought for them. It seemed like he had come into possession of them. So
Well,
you know
I
how it
suppose
is.
I have only one choice. I have one choice and one choice alone, and that is to sit down and attune to this thing over the long rest. There is not a lot else I can do currently.
Okay.
So I think that'll be the idea.
All right. So you're wishing to get to know this hilt, this handle a little bit more, and have it resonate with your very soul. And so you'll be able to. Although, is that over? You said a long rest. Was that specifically a long rest or a short rest?
Basically, they say you can do it over a short rest, but basically you got to meditate with it for an hour.
Okay.
Is the rule, and because you only need at most 6 hours sleep and 2 hours doing light activity.
Spell prep and stuff.
Attunement does count as light activities. So.
Okay, well then you can still work that in. I mean, you had a restful evening. You didn't go out bear hunting. You get this information. I'm fine with you. You're eating breakfast. There's nothing strenuous here, and Jack is still not around to pester you, as far as you can tell. And well, there we go.
We just did a thing. Carmen Santa, we just did a thing. So when I attune to an item, I just need to look up the rules specifically about attuning. Okay. So the next thing that I need to check is treasure on the magic items. Rarity, buying and selling, identifying magic item.
While you're doing that, make me an insight at advantage, please.
Yeah. I can do that. $24.
Nice. 24 is definitely a larger number than 17. Over the course of your attunement to this item, you are receiving moments in time. You're receiving thoughts, emotion. You're receiving like a vignette of various sounds. Rain pouring down, panting voices, the sounds of boots running in the mud, shouting. And it's not in a language that you necessarily like. How would I describe this? It would be as if middle. If you're reading like a Shakespeare book and you're reading Middle English, you might be able to understand it, or even like a little bit back to Canterbury Tales, like you might be able to get the gist, or the words might sound similar. Like it's a proto form of the common tongue, but in the shouting and the background noise and everything, this is ye olde common that is being shouted, but you're having trouble understanding ye olde common. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And so
I understand what it is, but not what they're actually.
yes, correct. And so over the course of this attunement, you get these flashes. It sounds, especially with a 24 there, very decent roll, and your insight is high as well. You get a +6 modifier. It does sound like there are 3 distinct people who are running and talking. At least one of them you're fairly certain is a female, or has at least a very feminine voice.
Okay.
And the other 2, one just has that like a resonating barrel-chested sound, and the other maybe more of a male-sounding voice, but we're talking someone who's more well-spoken, kind of like a Mordecai figure, where he's smoother. He's he's not super. He's not like a Tazray. We'll put it that way. But that's what you're getting as you attune to this thing. As well, there's not a mechanical, a D&D 5e mechanical infliction of a status effect on you, but you do get moments of fight or flight. Like you can almost just feel your adrenal glands like clench up and just squirt that sweet adrenaline into your into your bloodstream. And so like at the climax of your attunement, you sort of wake up out of it, and you're kind of panting yourself, and you just have sweat on your brow from this experience.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, so at the end of the achievement, I do gain an intuitive understanding of how to activate any magical properties that this item possesses, including any necessary command words. Although there's no command words for this, I don't think. Let me just check the description for assembly.
Were you doing this around others? Are they seeing you kind of twitch and sweat, or did you go back up to the room? What are you doing with this?
I would have gone back up to the room.
Okay.
You can use a bonus action to make it appear or disappear. You can use an action to expand or choose the light. Let's do weapon. Okay. Alright. Just make sure there wasn't any command words or anything that I had to create or anything like that. No, it's just a bonus action to make the blade appear or disappear, and an action to change its light casting
Light radius?
down.
Okay. Very good. So congratulations, Luke, on your first lightsaber. Wield it carefully in the confined spaces of Obi-Wan's cave. I'll give you a little practice drone at some point in time. All right.
Celine probably won't say anything about the item. The only other person who's going to know about the properties of the item are going to be Bright. He's going to be Bright, unless Bright decides to tell Jade, Mordecai, and Norelai what she saw.
I mean,
Try and keep a secret from me. Go ahead.
I'm not keeping it a secret. I just, usually when I identify something, I just tell everyone, unless there's a good reason not to. So I don't see any good reason not to here. So I don't think
fair enough.
I don't think it would be a secret. It just is what it is.
Oh no, I was just asking to make sure, did you tell them or did you not?
I'll just always keep you at like a 20-foot distance. It's fine. Because that sunlight property does not actually sit well with me.
No, probably wouldn't, but you know.
Don't think of it as a
Well,
sun
how-
blade. Think of it as a sparkle blade.
Eh,
I mean,
I would dig a
think-
sparkle blade.
it's an exfoliation blade.
Think of it this way. Think of it this way, Mordecai.
Hmm.
If you and I ever have a little rendezvous, I'll just make sure the blades are not out.
What makes you think we would go that far?
This is an
Why?
interesting
What?
development.
Hold on. What were you thinking?
I don't know. What were you thinking?
I think this conversation should end here before we both get egg on our face.
Well, there's
I'm
plenty
not
of egg
talking about
everywhere.
Monoclock's eggs either.
Okay.
I mean, there's eggs all over for breakfast. You could get them on your face if you don't eat carefully.
Yeah, where's breakfast? I'll go for breakfast.
Breakfast is good, yes.
I mean, breakfast is wherever you stored it personally, Mordecai.
I meant actual breakfast. Go down to the table.
All right. So, anything else that Jade is learning how to make? Some country breakfast recipes. In fact, the country grandma in there is like Jade. She is absolutely, you're getting stories. Oh, this recipe was passed down by my grandma, but I changed it a little bit, and this is what I recommend. And just pots are boiling, things are sizzling. There's all kinds of secret herbs and spices, and it's a cacophony of sound and smell. Like every sense in here can be tingled in some form or another. And of course, she tells you that you need to eat and put some meat on your bones because she's a grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Jade just comes out with a pseudo-traumatized look. Butter. Butter.
Butter's delicious.
It leaks out the veins.
That sounds delicious.
Well, if you are what you eat, this grandma is probably like a butter and gravy golem. So. Yes, she's a very healthy woman. We'll put it that way. In polite terms. Bless her heart. She might need it. All right, so breakfast. There's a couple other people that were staying here as well, and it seems like it's getting a little busier. From one of the other tables, you do hear, "Oh, did you hear what happened at the bridge?" So talk of that is getting out. I mean, because I think you spoke to people along the way, and of course, other people who've come in through the night. Rumors get around, especially if we're talking about a major bridge that has been washed out as far as people are concerned. So no one's attributing it to, supernatural manifestations of elder patron gods or entities.
We all know the truth.
Yes, you're the only sane people in an insane world.
That's true.
How interesting. Yeah.
Anything else for breakfast?
Golem of butter. I will probably grab some fruit for breakfast.
Okay. Yeah.
If there is fruit. If not, then it will be meat.
There is, because some of the merchants haven't been able to cross the bridge, so they needed someplace to stay, and they're going to sell their wares when they can before it goes bad. And so this backup actually is a bit of a boon for your all's food selection. And even if you need some various items before hitting the road again, there's some other people here who have some mundane items, lanterns, oil, ladders, stuff like that. You could find some arrows here. The people who hunt not just fletchers by trade, but use them to hunt. You could find arrows and crossbow bolts.
I
So
didn't realize people hunted with those. I thought everybody just used magic missiles.
The problem with the magic missile is that there's not much left, not much meat on the bone when you're doing small game.
I suppose we learned that last time.
About hunting for now. I would like to restock my rations too. My rations are basically trail mix, so hopefully somebody has something like that that I can stock up on.
Oh yeah. There's hunters mixes, which is just like raisins and mixed nuts and nothing that has. People are selling jerky of various animals as well, but if you just want the more vegetarian friendly mix, then yes, and they'll tell you it's high in protein and all that other stuff.
They don't need to sell me on it. I'm happy to buy that. So, how many rations have we consumed, and how many can we pick up?
You are 3 full days from Flowerfield, or Snamfi.
Okay.
And there's also 18 in the party rations.
Okay. So how much do they cost? Because I need special rations.
It'll be book price. People here are willing to make a deal because they want to turn over their stuff while they can, making money now instead of possibly not making money later. So if you all want to go to Chapter 5, if there's mundane stuff that you are interested in purchasing,
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bundle of arrows.
it should be there.
I am
care about that.
currently purchasing extra rations,
Okay.
which will add to the colony that is currently growing in Jade's backpack.
Gotcha. That's fine. There's, you're kind of close to a river, and also from the mountain, there's a lot of streams and stuff that trickle down. It's not illustrated on the map because I'm not going to draw a dozen or several dozen little streams, tributaries and whatnot that are flowing down from the mountain. But there's a lot of fishermen and whatnot. So yeah, if you want a bag of worms, if you want some, early harvest spring beetles. In fact, if you buy them while they're still like in chrysalis form, like you can really let them ripen in your bag, and come to full maturity. So yeah, you can talk to some of the fishermen and get some grub, quite literal grub from them.
Some actual grub.
Excellent.
Yes.
After that, Jade will place herself down at the tavern and seem to enjoy a meal, though she does end up looking at the eggs a little bit strangely.
Let's see. We have
1 moment, I require refreshment. I will
Yep.
still be listening.
we're out in the countryside, so I want to see something. Oh, nice. The grandma's gonna come out as she's refreshing your drinks and such. In fact, probably even one of her sons, not the grandma. She's cooking. One of her sons comes out, making sure that you're getting good service, and notices that that one of you has a chicken. I mean, that one of you is Noralai, and the chicken isn't doing so well. And so he offers to, if it's suffering, he can end it quickly. And if you want it cooked, he can cook it for the road, or he'll be willing to purchase it off of you all. Without Darkwolf being here, I imagine she's going to be resistant to that idea. And so with other player consent, I imagine that'll be the case.
I'd
I was
pipe up and
telling
say,
Mordecai.
is there anything that you can do to treat the chicken?
Oh.
I believe it's called a marinade.
No, not that way.
So yeah, he'll hold the chicken, and it's a limp chicken. I mean, just blah. It's one of those you get at the toy store that just goes, huh.
Yeah, I object. Naralai will protect.
And so he's holding this limp chicken and just kind of gives it a little stir around.
It's probably anemic. It's lost a lot of blood.
Checks it for injuries. I don't see any injuries on it.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't. Just trust me.
Well, if it needs some feed, I suppose I could take it out to the feed yard. Yeah.
Um,
You
I
got
think
you got
I
2
think it
copper?
would be better if we just kept the chicken with us, because I don't think Norlai would want to like risk
Chicken's a pet.
another chicken. Yeah. So
Oh.
maybe if we could just get some feed. Do you have any feed that's like enriched in iron?
Well,
Feed my chickens.
enriched in iron. Well, we ain't well, we're by the mountain, but we ain't browbeat. I can tell you though that the kitchen here is good for scraps, and we give the scraps to the animals, and so it ain't just grain that we give them. There's a little bit of protein mixed in, if you get what I'm saying. Nothing goes to waste.
Sounds like it would be good. I mean, they'll eat pretty much anything. Actually, people think of them as just eating birdseed, but they'll eat lots of things. So I think maybe get some of that, and maybe anything that's really something that'll put feathers on her chest.
Well, I'll see what I can do. I love this blue. I don't know how that happened. I ain't seen a chicken with a blue wing like this. Rare breed. Well, yeah. Tell you what, 2 copper pieces, and I'll you know what, little lady, Noralai, your name is. If you want to come out and play with the chickens in the barnyard, you're welcome to do so. And you can see what we feed them. In fact, maybe I myself or one of my brothers or sisters can teach you a thing or two. But yeah, we'll sell you some feed and get this bird all perky. And you know what? If it ends up dying, I'll chop its head off and prep it for you.
Let's avoid that as much as possible, please.
Yeah.
We don't need the magical girl going on a chucking a temper tantrum.
We're all attached to this chicken. It's a pet.
Some of us attach to it more literally than others.
Oh, well, I reckon if this thing were back in good health, yeah, it would be a very good pet, or at least, it'll eat some. Yeah, you know what these things really love? Yeah, they eat grass and seed. They love bugs, and they love mice. Oh, have you seen a chicken eat and he's going to start going into some country wisdom that might shock our poor spoiled magical girl here. That chickens aren't just cute fluffy things that go paka. They're they're omnivorous. They're savage omnivorous beasts that are descendants from dinosaurs.
Mordecai, I have a thought. Maybe you could collect a little drop of your special food.
What's that thought?
Because Mordecai might.
I'll go with.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll go with and add just like a touch of blood to whatever feed they're giving her. Just
sure.
Like sleight of hand.
All right. So the 2 tieflings go out to the barnyard and start kind of there's other animals out there. Lots of chickens. There's some goats you can pet. Maybe you can compare horns. There's it's a veritable petting zoo. I mean, because they use it for practical reasons and also for eating. Dark Wolf in chat here. You're talking to the girl who has a pet snake. She's cool with her pets eating mice and whatnot. So you 2 go out and are having some tiefling fun time. And you sort of spike the feed with some blood, and
just as a quick question.
Yes.
How many days would that bucket last me before it goes bad?
Before it goes bad, we're probably talking a day or 2. Now, I will be open-minded if Celine wants to do something like cast Gentle Repose on the blood. I think that might be a creative use of the spell.
Well, I've been planning to refrigerate it, but I want to get out of the wild magic zone first. I guess it depends. How close are we to the edge of the wild magic zone?
You're close to it. Couple hours down the road, and you should be safe.
Okay.
Yes, so after a couple hours, I'm guessing there's going to be a ray of frost going the way of the bucket to chill it.
Oh, not ray of frost, you silly goose. There's
Blizzard.
There's a no. I wish. No, there's a refrigeration option in prestidigitation.
Oh, there is too. Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna use that, but I don't want to do it in the wild magic zone because
that might blow up my food.
That might blow up my food.
Not blow up my food. We just got that. I don't want to do that to you again.
I mean,
Well,
we
turn
could
it
get
into
lucky.
a unicorn.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what if we turned it into a bucket of unicorn blood? That would be kind of fun.
Poor Mordecai just standing there with with the handle and the rim of the bucket, but nothing else there, and just like it's a mess. Okay.
Let's not go hunting for a minute.
The blood, I mean, because it's already nighttime. It's been several hours. It's already starting to go through the natural process of congealing and such. Has it gone bad? I mean, can you eat a sandwich with mayonnaise if it's been sitting out at a party for like a couple hours? Yeah, you could probably still get away with that, and it's fine. But you probably don't want it to turn into like another like half a day, because then you're, it won't be as nutritious or delicious as you hope. Okay.
Basically, I think the entire thing is it doesn't taste super good, but it won't make you sick.
Norlai and Mordecai, you do notice that Mordecluck is eating the seed, although for sure it is going for the juicier bits that are mixed in with the seed, and so you're looking at like ground up bone, some meat, some little meat shards. When you are making kind of an oatmeal slurry with blood and the grains, it definitely is it's gunning for that, Mordecai. And this chicken is making a turkey jealous from all the gobbling it's doing. It is just absolutely going nuts on the meat and the blood mixed in with the seed.
Definitely making a mental note whether it's going to be in diminishing returns putting blood in versus getting blood out. So,
it's probably gonna work out about the same, but I don't know that it matters because, like, I mean, we have to keep Mordecluck. It's not like we can just get rid of Mordecluck.
Exactly.
Ah, there's Norlai. Hello, Norlai.
Hello, Norlai.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Hello. Yeah, I'm not gonna be on camera. I didn't feel well enough to put on the wig and all that.
That's fine. Hey, I'm glad you're here.
Most of us aren't on camera as it is.
So long story short, everything that happened, and now you know.
Yep. Roll 20 is being a derp.
All right, so you have learned that Mordecluck does not necessarily require, because Norlai has been trying to Norlai has been letting it go in the grass. I mean, you all take like a little pit stop. You gotta go behind a bush or something. Mordecluck is set down, and is kind of picking at the grass and maybe a little seed, or if there's a bug in there for sure. But ever since laying that egg, Mordecluck hasn't been doing so well. Now in this feeding pen, especially with the fortified grains that it is receiving, Mordecluck seems to be recovering quickly, and has a lot of energy and is no longer just a limp. Seems a lot more chipper, looking around and active. All right, so a little bit of barnyard fun in the petting zoo here. It is now probably late morning, approaching afternoon. You all, I mean, you had your bed and your breakfast. If you want lunch, it'll be a separate fee. Otherwise, it's actually a nice spring day.
Nice spring days are always good.
Should we press on?
Yes, I'm ready to leave.
Okay.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Then.
I'm alright.
I mean, so old memories apparently here, but I'm focusing on the road, which is becoming more populated with trees. Not just the couple you see here, but you're still going through flowers. The mountains are a lot closer than what's presented here.
Someone's chewing on their microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I am eating food. My apologies.
Oh. How dare you eat food on my stream? Next thing you know, there's going to be a cat jumping up and it's just going to flash us all. Oh. All right, so back on the road, and a couple hours pass, and the flowers are not nearly as abundant. So in the perspective of the picture, it was very obvious you're still going through a highly dense area. Not that there's like a limit where the flowers just seem to stop in a very creepy, like a straight fashion. But the further down the road you get, a little bit less until now you're really out here, and the flowers, you're seeing a couple here and there. That may still be native to this area, but it appears that there are not as many flowers around the road, or growing on the sides and ditches and flowers wherever, because some of them are probably sort of floating around on the wind. You're not really getting that, and it's now going into more of a forested area where the trees are now picking up the underbrush. There's still a road that you're on, but trees and underbrush are taking over from flowers.
Okay, so now that there's not as many flowers, we actually have to talk about. Well, first thing I want to do is refrigerate Mordecai's bucket.
Okay.
I'll show you. You can see I can change the temperature.
Yes.
More and more flavor. So I'm chilling. And it lasts for an hour, so I'll just recast it every hour when the food starts to warm up again.
It's a good thing that doesn't cost a whole lot of effort.
So I don't want to do it in the Wild Magic Zone because casting that many spells would go kaboom.
Okay.
But, now that we're out, I can do that. And also, I'm going to go full Pinkie Pie and cause fireworks and bounce around and jump up and down. And
Finally, yeah, right.
all kinds of prestidigitations and illusions. There's fireworks, there's confetti, there's party noises. I'm just so happy to be out of the Wild Magic Zone.
Bright can finally be herself again. Yeah, I'm just imagining this explosion of.
There is, and there's
prestidigitations.
illusions to make balloons, and the blood tastes like birthday cake. Here, you can taste it. I don't know if that'll work for you.
I give it a shot.
It's just, I'm just really glad to be out of the Wild Magic Zone. Okay, that's all. And now the other thing is we had talked about disenchant Noralize Crystal.
Yes, that was also brought up.
That we were kind of waiting until we got to the edge of the Wild Magic Zone because
Yeah, to
we weren't
get out
sure.
of the Wild Magic Zone so that Norlight doesn't explode.
But we weren't
Yeah,
sure.
I don't want to do that.
Like sometimes the Wild Magic, it's not bad. Like sometimes it amplifies the effect of your spell and lets it do things that it otherwise couldn't do. But also,
Don't rely on it. It's very random. Don't count it.
I mean, it is, but it might like make it possible when it might not otherwise be possible. So I'm not sure actually that we should go away from the Wild Magic Zone. We might want to like duck back in
You've been very
to like a little.
this
clump of
time,
flowers.
haven't you, Bright?
I feel
Yeah.
like we shouldn't do that because my magic's already crazy enough.
We have kind of tired of the Wild Magic Zone. Yes. There's a
feel
lot
that
of things I can't
Quite a
do.
bit.
I also feel that. I mean, I turned Jade into a unicorn, shrunk.
And a chicken stuck to my face.
You had a chicken stuck to your face.
I feel bad that you shrank. Because I know, like for me, that wouldn't really be a big deal because I'm pretty little already and most people wouldn't even notice the difference. But I know you really kind of enjoy being tall and I'm sorry that you got shorter. For you. Exact opposite.
Hardly
At
noticed.
least it wasn't a lot.
I'm actually already kind of tall for a dwarf, at least, or for a gnome. Somebody's talking about dwarves in the chat and it distracted me. I got this vision of someone
Yeah.
talking about dwarves. I don't know where it came from. just my thing, you know, and it distracted me. Sorry, it's a little Freudian slip, but I'm actually kind of on the taller side already for a gnome, and I wouldn't really want to get taller and be kind of freaky.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
for a gnome, for a gnome woman, I'm a little taller than average.
among her kind, she is a giantess.
I'm not that big. I'm just
Oh,
like an inch taller than average, which is a
You
lot for a gnome.
almost stand up to my hip.
Bright, make an Arcana at advantage.
Okay, let's go to that page of the spell sheet.
Oof, 23. All right, I mean, with near, well, it may not be this. You can confirm or deny, but like with this passion, this near orgasmic glee of just the release of magic flowing through you, everything is bright and wonderful and back in your, phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty gnome. Between this, you're now a conduit of free flowing magic, and you're manipulating the world to your expectations and your pleasures and desires. And you have this plan. Well, maybe we should go back in if we want to get a boost ? From the wild magic zone. You've spent time in here. You've succumbed to the effects of wild magic, as well. Now you're back to being unfettered, and in fact, I would imagine Bright feels a little bit stronger than she has before, a little bit more spring in her step than the last session. I mean, yesterday, and if you go back into the wild magic zone, you would be able to manifest, like, because you could feel the magic. You know what that build is, that static, that whatever, that quintessence, to borrow a term. You feel that build up, and so Bright, for you might be able to artificially trigger, like force trigger, a wild magic effect when you cast a spell willingly.
Oh, well, that's pretty fun. I like that ability. I'll definitely use that.
The diviner has specced into wild mage. Run!
Yeah, it's a special kind of wild divination. But actually,
Wild.
so Celine is the one who has to cast the disenchant spell. But because she's the only one that knows that. I mean, I've practiced it in wizard school, but I haven't practiced it enough, and I don't think I could cast it properly right now. And I wouldn't want to chance it with Norlai, But I know Celine knows how to do it, so she'd have to be the one do it.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, right? Just as a quick out of character thing, in earlier edition, like in second and in 3.5, one of the really, really weird, scary things that you could do with a wizard is that you could spec into a school, but then have an archetype as a wild mage, as a wizard. So you're this wizard who specializes in this school of magic, firing off wild magic surges left and right, and
And they
cities
use reckless grammar. We studied that in wizard school too. But no one's allowed. It's actually illegal now. The Wizards Guild, we only learn about the existence of it, but they don't actually teach it because it's illegal to cast that spell now because there's too many wild surges.
yeah, no, civilizations have risen and fallen thanks to wizards like that.
Well,
That's why we don't do it
if
anymore.
Celine, you being an accomplished caster yourself, in fact, are you proficient in Arcana?
I believe that I am. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, actually, I am.
With the topic and what was brought up, and now that it's sort of been brought into the reality of the party, not just as a DM Bright observance, with her talking about this, and this is something that as a caster, you might be able to do as well. Now, the way that you, because you've actually had this conversation amongst each other as your different sources of power, and so, what is the nature of magic, etc. But if Bright is confident that she can do it, you know, the wild magic affected all of you regardless of your magic's origin, and so you might be able to purposely invoke wild magic if you wish to do so as well.
Okay.
So this is, it's an experiment because none of you have tried it yet. But in the discussion outside of the wild magic zone, it may be possible for you to be a willful conduit and sort of subject yourself to the environmental effect instead of fighting against it.
Okay. What do you think? Shall we begin the experiment? Silly clasps her hands together.
I'd like to, but I mean, it's really up to Lorelei.
Yeah.
'Cause it's her crystal, and sickly. So I mean, I'd like to because I think that that's a really important crystal, and I think it's really meaningful, and I think it's important to Lorelei too, even if she won't admit it. But I think it's also
And should something go wrong, we're all here to back you up.
Yes.
Don't say stuff like that. It makes me nervous.
I'm just saying, you know, just trying to be a bit of encouragement.
Yeah.
You know.
We don't believe that anything will go wrong, but if something does, we're all here to support you, is the thing.
Okay. Guess we can try it then.
It's time for some wild magic. I'm gonna let myself be a willing conduit, and I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic.
I'm gonna stand back. Let's arrange the map first.
I'm
Yeah,
standing-
let's arrange the map before this goes off.
Everyone, dirty
Okay.
it away.
So just, I mean, you're in the flower field. Go ahead and place your pawns on the somewhere on the pitcher. Like it's obviously not in the perspective and scale, but just sort of make your arrangement about where or what. And I can make this, if you all need a little bit more room, I can make this a little bit bigger as well.
We probably do.
That's right.
Lorelei is. I'll stand back. Piggy Sue will also stand back. She's sitting on my shoulder.
This thing's
She's
being a
learning
little
how to hold
derpy.
on with her hooves.
Okay, hopefully that works.
Yeah, she falls off a lot.
All right, so just pretend that pond and shack and everything aren't there.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably
There.
erase those things.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna leave the pets with Grayson, who's
Yep.
gonna stand a few feet away as well.
Mhm.
Fair.
Ta-da! I learnt a thing.
Okay.
I'll stand one more back. Okay.
So Celine is gonna clasp her hands together and say a prayer in Celestial,
I don't know that one.
and then let out a bolt of the dispelling magic at Norelei at the crystal.
Norelei, are you saying or doing anything to, I mean, whether it's mundane, magical, mechanical, or just, you know, pure roleplay?
Not at the moment. I'm gonna wait and see.
Okay.
Now it's time for a 1d100, isn't it?
We are... All right, so as you're casting, this spell's gonna taste a little bit different for you, Celine. As you know, your magic comes from Weejoss. You know, she is answering a prayer, you know, which is your study. You know, please prepare me for the ordeals I'm going to be facing to come. And you know, this is the fluff of granting you the mechanics of your shifting spell list, or the essence. I mean, you can flavor it more from there. You can add a little bit of spice.
Yep.
And when you are doing so, you feel this other energy. You, at this point, have grown comfortable, or at least you're knowledgeable. I don't know if Weejas's power flowing through you might actually make you feel like shivery, or, you know, like a touch of death or something, like a little tingle or something. But you're also getting this...
A bit cold.
You're getting this other feeling. It's as if, you know, it's as if you're underwater and you open your mouth and the water, not in a choking sensation, but, you know, like water just fills whatever it can fill. You open yourself up, and this presence, this magic, this manipulation, whatever you classify this as, fills you as you open up and cast your spell. And so with that, and this is your first spell cast in such a way, the first number is going to be an effect that is centered on you. The second effect is going to be something that is centered on Norlai, as this conduit is made between the spell you're casting and the receiver of it, as you are now flooded with this this chaos magic. So I'm going to roll 2d100.
Okay.
So the first number is 85, and this is on you. You cast Mirror Image, and Norlai receives a 50. You can't speak for the next minute. Whenever you try, pink bubbles float out of your mouth.
See, that would have been a fun one to have. How come I didn't get that one?
I mean, that's actually not that good for you, though, because then you can't make the vocal components required for your spells.
I
I know.
don't need them actually. I have subtle stuff.
Yeah, no, you have subtle spell. I'm talking about bright.
It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
right.
It would have been so much fun.
I mean, that's fair.
Bubbles, prestidigitation, fireworks.
All right,
Yeah.
so
You're wrong.
Celine, the spell goes off, and you're casting Dispel Magic. What occurs is, for you, I mean, you see this, and of course everyone standing around you is going to see this as well. Your body splits apart from itself, and inside of your clothes and armor is really nothing. There's nothing that's visible except some vague kind of misty presence. And around you is effectively a Celine skin suit. Your skeleton is a second character around you, and your muscles are a third character around you. And so you've been split into 4 different layers of Celine in this mirror image that has occurred. As you have been torn apart, akin to, you know, kind of what your magic is trying to do here to Norlai. Norlai, the
This illusion would probably not even have any effect on Jade. Isn't that pretty much how she sees everyone?
Actually, that is
Probably.
a good thing. Actually, with Derek. Oh wait, no, that's Witch Sight, and you can't get that yet. Never mind.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just I was just making sure that you didn't have Witch Sight, because Witch Sight would actually affect how you would see Celine currently, because it allows you to see the true form of creatures cloaked by illusions within 30 feet. So I just thought that I would ask, but then I realized Joy 15th level requirement, not happening. Not yet, anyway.
Norlai, the Dispel Magic hits you, and in particular, I mean, you're trying to have your, your crystal is being targeted. You might want Mordecai to look away, as you kind of have to, don't look, Mordecai, as you kind of bury yourself to the others. I mean, you don't have to do a full flash, but she's been shy before. As it hits you, you get a feeling. you get a pins and needle feeling all throughout your body. And the sound that you make begins as a bit of a scream that slowly turns into the sound of like glass or ice rubbing against each other, kind of breaking in this shrill like nails on chalkboard. In a similar scene to if you've seen The Matrix, when Neo is first brought in by Morpheus, and the liquid metal pours into his mouth, and suddenly the voice changes and modulates digitally. You get something like that until your voice completely cuts off, but you do see like emanating from your mouth, where so too is your scream, coincidentally. Instead of bubbles per se, you're getting these like kind of like crystal powder, as like a breath, as these fine shards of crystal, kind of glint and glimmer as like someone just like glitter bombed the sky, in the area, and that's what's coming out of your voice box right now.
So just as a little flavor, considering I'm split into 4 at the moment, you just hear this 4-toned, great.
I think Noralai's cool looking. I think she should do this forever. I mean, maybe not forever, but, long enough to be fun.
Mordecai, there's I'm not giving you a mechanical prompt, but definitely seeing Celine with no skin, and it's like all muscle, so you're seeing like, you're getting the circulatory system as well, not just the muscular system. This is like, ooh, oh Lord. Mordecai is feeling a little thirsty. In a wink and a nod humor. I'm not prompting you to attack Celine, but this is definitely yeah. Oh, blushing a little bit. I mean, you're getting a similar rush to the bear, but fortunately you are well fed, and you did have a previous rush, so you don't feel the urge to savage Celine, but definitely seeing her. I mean, to say she's in the buff, I mean, you're kind of seeing her 3 ways in the buff. Just her skin, no eyeballs or anything, or, no teeth. It's just skin in a humanoid shape, and then her skeleton, and then her muscles and other like veins and eyeballs and stuff. You can react as you will, but I want to paint the scene for you.
Definitely thinking that's a little bit strange. Never seen something like that before.
Silly's just like, I've been split in 4.
Don't worry. Lots of people make that mistake when they cast teleportation or illusion spells for the first time. So don't worry about it. I've seen this a dozen times in wizard school. You'll get better, I promise. Remember how I said if you learn Misty Step, you have to be careful so you don't leave your clothes behind? It's basically the same thing that just happened to you.
Was not aware that was a thing that could happen.
Celine is gonna turn to Jade, and she's gonna be like, Jade, I know you have a good thing with seeing magic and things of the like. Could you take a look over me?
I could, but she kind of gestures with her hand up and down to the multiple pieces. Well,
like,
I guess very few have the opportunity to see their real selves. But yeah, I suppose I could tell you. Are you sure you want to see, though?
I wouldn't be asking. I mean, I can see that I've split myself in 4. My skin, my muscles, my skeleton, and what I can only guess is my soul.
Please, that's already owned. That being said, yes, I suppose I could explain it to you. Given that Jade pretty much perpetually has these sites going, sure. Detect magic, basically use all the sites. What can Jade deduce from this?
Voink, 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 voink.
It's gonna be Eldritch Sight, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, detect magic.
I wasn't aware you can reanimate an illusion, but apparently you can.
Apparently.
Weird.
Oh, it's not weird at all. What you're experiencing, Celine, is this reconnection with yourself. You keep yourself divided between, obviously, the pleasures of the flesh, your own internal will and motivation and movement being represented by your hip muscle, your confusion and emotional state represented by your soul, and your rigidness in the bones. And all of these has come into such conflict that they now need to be separated in order to end up continuing on.
She's just like, that's
Insightful.
it's as good an explanation as any, honestly. So, we'll just. I mean, if
I'll
it's a
get my
spell, then it should be. If it's a spell, then it should last, a little while, but then it should wear off. So this should be okay.
Oh, I don't have it anymore.
What were you gonna do?
Well, doesn't matter. I don't have that ability. Otherwise, I'd just rip it off you.
Mhm.
Mm.
Oh,
How
whoops.
you doing, Norlai?
Um, I don't feel much different. I don't
I mean,
think.
you look different. So it's kind of funny because we spent the whole time talking about Celine, and I don't really know what's happening to Norlai.
Yeah.
Can we really be sure of what's happening to any of us at any given moment?
Can be fairly certain.
Maddie, what
Mhm.
does Norlai like? What is she doing right now?
Standing there, unless she's saying.
Yeah, but like, is she still sparkling? Like, what's going on with her? Like, what happened to the crystal?
The crystal's still there, but the effect wears off, and she can speak again. It looks like there might be a mic problem on her end. So, looking down, there's like in her sternum, there is still a crystal.
I mean,
Oh,
should be connected.
oh,
I
there
just
you are.
was
Okay,
scanning,
gotcha.
There we
'cause
go.
I'm confused too.
Jade. I mean, because they're kind of standing close together, it's easy for you to just like flick your eyes back and forth here. With your Eldritch Sight as well. Norlai is glowing as transmutation.
When you wish upon a star. Oh. What did you wish to be, Norlai? I'm curious.
What do you mean?
Well, you're not quite yourself right now.
No, I'm pretty sure I might.
I'm gonna force this information, this visual, that as Jade perceives it to Norlai. into Norlai's brain directly.
Hmm. Uh, um,
What?
Receiving a bit
Yeah.
of feedback and some background noise.
Background noises from lethality.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a
sorry
little bit
about
of. Okay.
Give me a second, and I might be able to
Okay.
try and negate that a little bit.
So Norlai, Jade is presenting you a, I mean, a very vivid telepathic image here. What do you say or do?
um, um, I don't know.
It's quite alright. It's just a little unusual. But then again, what is usual with our group?
Yeah. So I'm kind of surprised at what's happening. Can I gain a check or something to try to see, like, magically how I should interpret this?
Sure. Go ahead and make a straight up Arcana.
It's never good.
So with an 11, um, the spell went off. This wild magic, the surge occurred with very obvious effects. Like you don't need to detect magic to see that Selene is in 4 parts, and Norelai was just sort of like stunned and in producing like a glitter, like a glittery like mist out of her mouth, like breath. As for what happened, the flavor of the spell, interference from magical effects. It could have something to do with the nature of the caster and or the receiver of the spell. There's just so many different aspects. It's difficult to narrow down or speak with certainty. I mean, you can speak with certainty and to the others, but DM to your brain is Bright. Bright is not certain what the cause could be. Is there's too many variables right now for you to ponder.
Okay. So I'll speak with certainty and say that I'm certainly not certain what happened.
Yeah, I'm not certain either. That's
So the
Doesn't
nice
look like
thing,
it did anything though.
well, the thing
I
about
mean, I had the
dispel,
pink sparkles thing, but that's happened.
the thing about dispel is that, like, sometimes if it's not strong enough, the magic that's it's trying to dispel doesn't get dispelled, and so that could have happened. But I mean, usually you can see like there's like a struggle between the old spell and the new one, and there's kind of like a fight, and whichever one is stronger, and that's the skill of the wizard, and all these things that matter. And I didn't really see any of that, so it doesn't look like it wasn't just strong enough. It seems like we're not doing something right. Like like we can't just dispel it. We have to find other clues.
Find the right way to do it.
So it's still gonna be kind of an interesting mystery. Um, oh no. I mean,
Hmm.
if we find, if you remember that I came here to Mezamaska to find a sage who's a real expert in wild magic, and so if we found him, and he's over in Westport, so we're kind of heading in the right direction anyway. And if we found him, he might like be able to tell us what this stuff is. But other than that, I think we're going to need more clues before we can do more work on this. And I'm really disappointed because I thought that something like, I mean, it was fun, and I like seeing Celine split into 4 parts. That's fun. I haven't seen that in a couple of years. And like, Marla was all sparkly and bubbly, and that was fun.
Yeah,
But
but
aside from the
it's fun.
fun, we didn't really accomplish anything, and that's too bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you're okay though? We're all okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Norlai, did you have an epic struggle? You couldn't really talk.
No, I've had bubbles before. These ones are more sparkly, but I like. Plus, I can do magic when I'm not doing it anyways. I just didn't really know what to do right then, but everything's fine. I just thought some.
Once we get out of the wild magic zone again, I think I would like to re-identify the crystal and see if anything about it has changed. But other than that, I think we should just head on to Greenshield and maybe we'll find Norlai's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So resolving to hit the road again, you turn around and head back out of the wild magic zone on your way to Greenshield. Okay.
Mark says we leave the wild magic zone again, just to mark the boundary.
So yes, Bright once more explodes with magic. Celine, the effect. Da-da-da.
It lasts for a minute, so.
Yeah. So you will be pulled together one layer at a time, and so you'll see that your skeleton is pulled into your central form. Your muscles are pulled on top, and then you sleeve yourself back in your skin.
Don't forget the buttons and zippers.
Celine just like, huh, that was different.
Jarring, maybe?
Very.
I feel like Celine's emotions are divided on the experience.
Yeah, I mean, she was really beside herself when that happened.
Quite.
I'm tired of all these. I'm tired of all these puns. Can we just split?
Then split you do from this location, and head down the road. Now, for you talking to Lethality, not Celine, do we have you for another hour, or are you free again tonight?
No, you've only got me for another hour. We've got a game tonight.
Okay. Are you all fine if we take a 5-minute break, or do you need longer?
5 minutes is good for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'd appreciate a little 5-minute break. Come back and we can proceed.
All right.
Okay. So everyone out there in audience land, thank you. Hang tight. Go get a snack and a drink yourselves. Use the restroom if you have to, and we'll be back in a little bit to continue the journey.